Hello, gents.
Yep, there's sound. Go ahead.
Hi, governor.
Getting the levels right.
Can you guys hear us? Hopefully.
Hello, hello. Hello, Clarice. Do you hear the lambs at night? I had his liver with a fine Chianti and some fava beans.
So weird.
Ugh. All that passion on the floor.
Good, good. Yeah, I know. I don't think they're going to kill Slanesh, guys. I think that's just a rumor. I mean, we could all understand why, because it's so sexual, and it's a game aimed at children.
Slanesh is not sexual at all.
I mean, Slanesh was born in the 80s. Right? It's guys who hit their prime in the 70s in the discos, rocked it into the 80s, you know, with Poison and Kiss and shit.
It's going crazy.
And they're like, yeah, man, heavy metal. Woo! And then as the brand and the company matured, they're like,
Like,
Hey,
ooh.
can you let them know I'm raising the audio? Oh, they can probably hear me. We're
Maybe
raising
not.
the audio, so adjust your microphones before we blow out your ears.
yep, the volume is going up.
Going up in the club.
CW Dub, I appreciate the British political joke. Well played. Well played. You know what? During the Thatcher era in England, they like outlawed like horror movies, some horror movies.
Really?
Yeah, as being like, you know,
Too scary?
not too scary, but like, what's the word I'm reaching for?
Too
Like,
risque.
not even risque. It's like, I'm drawing a blank. It was like offensive,
Oh.
and it's like, it's like it happens in America too sometimes where, like, oh, this video game is just too much, and I'm like, it's fake.
Yeah. It's too fake. Or too real. It's like The Walking Dead. It show's way too real. Need to...
I was a little let down that the season finale like didn't go a little further. Like, it was really good. It was really good.
I know we were kind of sitting there like,
What?
in the world?
And then the kid's like, Mom,
You're
Mom,
like,
like, shut up, you idiot.
Hopefully you guys saw it.
CW Dub, that I could see why you almost got thrown out. I have rabies, 911, that's your list? Yeah, we're just going with it as it is. If you would like to make some changes, bring it up when we're talking about it in the chat section. And then we'll take into account any changes you may have wanted to make. Thanks, Nuka Magnum. Oh, gotcha, buddy.
Gotcha.
Well then, yes, send your changes to Mariana and she'll adjust it. Make sure to tell her what date yours is going to go up to so that she can easily find it.
Oh yeah, the drone detachment also gives you outflank.
Yeah, I was laughing hysterically reading the comments on Bulls. We're like, it's not that good. I'm like, how do you not see how devastatingly good this
It's
is?
so good. It's so good because like Tao's main issue right now are like drop pods. Especially drop pods with like good cover saves.
Well, I have rabies. Mariana's in chat, so yell at her now. Also, bear in mind too, during the holidays, like a week like this, things just slow down. We're trying to split our time and make sure that we pay attention to our families and stuff like that. Obviously.
Jeff in Control will be here this weekend.
As well as Caleb.
Caleb, the bald man.
Caleb Wissenbeck.
I guess he's not even staying with us. He's staying with us like Friday, and that's it.
Cool.
So, or Saturday. I don't remember.
Well, Nuka Magnum, today is the last day to get the discount on the 30K box set from Frontline Gaming. And we still have some left. GW accidentally sent us like 100 extra. It was pretty funny. We're like, oh, okay. We have a lot of these. KM Kinney, K McKinney. Yeah. That would technically be the first tournament of 2016 season.
Yeah.
And the team tournament that we're doing will also be one of the very first ways to get a score.
Yeah, bullwarding. I think Twitch was having some issues today.
Axis of Entropy, today is the last day for the Fat Mat sale. T6 Ted, you take one save. And then if you pass your save, nothing happens. If you fail your save, you then take whatever effect the D weapon would have. Obviously, if they roll a 6, you take no saves.
Take that.
We know that other formation in the Mont Ka book is you could take like an army of just Riptides.
Yeah.
That's going to be
Supposedly, though,
devastatingly powerful.
the Riptides can't take like signature systems or something I was reading.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
Actually, we had a good I had a great Thanksgiving, actually. Thank you.
But I haven't actually read the book, but somebody was saying that as a comment that they lost like all their signature systems, which would be terrible.
That would definitely make them. Well, they still get a bunch of bonuses. But yeah, that would suck. Bullwardian. Yeah, the email. Check your email. We're a little behind. We've been getting more questions than we could keep up with through the submission form, but we have been sending out email answers. And make sure to thank the guys from TFG Radio. They are the ones that are answering the majority of the questions, and they're the judging staff for the LVO. So check out their podcast and make sure to thank them because it takes a lot of work to answer all those questions.
There you go. Dante Darkly, thank you for clearing that up. They forgot to add the clause for Riptide signature systems. Dun, dun, dun.
What do you mean by that, Dante Darkly? They forgot to add the clause?
I think they forgot to add the option. Forgot to copy and paste it or something.
Yeah, and they get like all kinds. They can shoot twice. It's gnarly. That army is going to be destroying people.
Yeah. Super.
You're like, oh, you have 9 Riptides. That's your army. Or I don't know if you could fit 9, but
They're like 220.
so yeah, you have 8 Riptides.
Yeah.
Cool.
It's pretty good.
I mean, I guess like they would really struggle to win the Maelstrom portion of a mission because they essentially have 3 units. I guess no, you just take 2
No.
formations.
You can take. Yeah, you can just take 2.
Just to double down on it. Then you have 6 unique Riptides.
Mm-hmm.
You would
you could take a CAD.
You would dominate. You would kick the shit out of people with that army. Oh, I have rabies. Nice. Yeah, those things are cool.
The drone formation plus Riptide wing. That's
Yep.
pretty good.
I know. As you and Knight, I agree with you. It's so funny. If you go to Bowls, the comments, they're like, oh, it's not good. You're like, what are you talking about? That drone formation, I would argue, is like, from first glance, looks like it might be the most powerful formation in the book. For what it does, for how much it force multiplies the rest of your army, it's insane.
Yeah. Dude, some of the guys this last weekend were telling me that it's not worth it to take Feel No Pain on a Riptide.
That is also someone who does not know what they're talking about. It's just like the people who were saying don't take a 4++ on the Riptide or the Storm Surge. We're like, what are you talking about?
Because I was like, you do realize that with a Feel No Pain, they make a third more saves.
Yeah, I'm like, you are high if you don't put every defensive buff on there.
Heck yeah.
It makes the Storm Surge go statistically from 8 to 16 wounds
Yes.
for 50 points. You literally double your resiliency. Like, why would you ever not take it? Oh gosh, I was just laughing, and I'm like, these are some of the people that I recognize some of the people in there.
Mm-hmm.
There's some of the people who've been like screaming at me about like some of the Tau stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. You guys just literally don't understand what you're talking about.
Don't know how it works.
11.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you so much for joining us for Signals from the Frontline. Coming back to you after a holiday break. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving with your family and friends, ate a lot of turkey, watched a lot of football, and relaxed, because that's what we did a little bit.
Yes.
Actually, we only had one day that we didn't work. Thanksgiving Day itself. We had a minor catastrophe on the day before Thanksgiving, which we won't go into too much detail. It's a technical issue, and we all had to, after we cleaned the rosebud out of our britches, we were able to recover and enjoy the rest of the day. But thank you so much for joining us. As always, Signals from the Frontline is every Monday and Friday live on Twitch, rebroadcast on YouTube, and a podcast on iTunes where you can find us under Signals from the Frontline. Make sure to subscribe. Yeah. And brought to you by frontlinegaming.org, as always, where you can get all kinds of hobby goodies at up to, right now, 45% off. We also distribute and sell the awesome Fat Mats, and we run tabletop gaming events all around the country, including the upcoming Las Vegas Open and the very cool ITC. We do a little bit in gaming.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Not much.
My name is Reese.
And my name is Frankie.
Thank you for joining us. We have a lot to talk about today. I think this is going to be a show that interests a lot of people this time around. We just had an ITC update poll, which is always big news in the 40K tournament scene. Yep. And we also have our last day of our Cyber Monday, our Black Friday sale is occurring today. So we want to make sure that we make everybody aware of that. A bunch of stuff have come out. There's some interesting rumors. We got a lot of cool stuff to go over. So let's jump right into it.
Let's do it.
First of all, today is Cyber Monday. It is the last day of our Black Friday week-long sale. It's no longer a Black Friday sale. I don't think anybody just does Black Friday anymore, right? Like, because it's like, oh, that guy's going to start doing Black Friday in October. Like, I got to get it there a little quicker.
Yeah, I guess we would talk, or just call it like the Thanksgiving sale or something.
I know. You can't call it like, yeah, I guess that would be like really the Turkey Week sale, the gobble sale.
The gobble sale.
Gobble up the savings. Oh, I trademarked that right now. No one else take that.
TM.
But yeah, we've got a bunch of sales going on right now. Predominantly, the most popular was the Fat Mats at 20% off, 10% in Australia, and 20% off in North America and Europe. We've never discounted the Fat Mats before. This is the first time we've ever done it. It's been quite popular. Make sure you jump in and get yours. Today is the last day. So long as you submit your order today before midnight, we'll honor the sale. So get in there, get your Fat Mats, and get them at a discount, and we're happy to hook you up.
Yep.
We've also got the ITC Terrain Series. We launched the first kit in the set. Frankie, you and Josh from Greenman Designs, who is our manufacturer on this project. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, always got to give a tip of the hat to the architect. He's the one that designed the building. Yep. You guys did a great job. It's been extremely popular. Thank you so much, everybody that supported us.
Yeah, thank you.
We actually got more orders than anticipated. So.
Yep.
which is awesome. We're so excited at the success of the product. So the manufacturing has already begun, obviously, but we have to make more, and shipping will begin today and tomorrow.
Yep.
So they all should be out no later than Tuesday. Keep your eye on your inbox and on your mailbox, and you'll be seeing those. Very cool. Check those out. Right now for this week, today is the last day. If we're doing a buy two, get one free sale, it's in the North American web cart. There has been a couple issues with calculating the shipping. It's a technical issue on the back end because we have so many different kinds of products. So if you are not in the continental United States, email us at orders@frontlinegaming.org, and we will give you a quote on the shipping, and we'll get you hooked up.
Yep.
In our web cart right now, we have a technical issue with it, and we'll get that resolved. But thank you for being patient. And we're really excited. We're also going to do a video tutorial. Mm-hmm. We've also got some more painted in different color schemes. You guys can check that out. And we're going to do a contest.
Yeah.
Frankie, actually, why don't you tell them about the contest, because this project is your baby.
So we'll be doing a contest. If you guys paint it up to match up a certain Fat Mat that you have, we're planning on giving you guys the next terrain piece that we will be giving away. So
yeah, to the winner.
To the winner.
Not to everybody.
Not to everybody. the winner of the contest that paints the best building up to match their Fat Mat, we will give you guys the next piece, which will be released next month. So.
Right, and we would like to see, because we designed them for Urban Combat 1 and 2.
Yes.
And they work. That's literally perfect. When you put it down on the mat, you're like, oh my gosh, it fits perfectly in these spaces, and that was intentional. What we would love to see is how you can get creative and make your ITC Terrain series building, the L Urban and Damaged L urban building, how it can match, barren wasteland or grassy plains or the alpine mat. Yep. Or even, hey, get creative. I'd love to see how you make it work on some
outer space.
Ship interior, outer space. Hey, if someone could do it, that'd be awesome. I don't know how you would, but
it's on an asteroid.
There you go. it's a kind of an Art Deco building on an asteroid in space. Hey, I don't know.
That'd be amazing.
I think that would be really, really cool. So get creative, and we'll give you more details of this on the next podcast.
Yep.
And then we'll launch the contest. I think we can shoot to get it going next week.
Probably next week, yeah.
Because that gives people time to get it and everything. And we're really excited to see what people do with them. It's been really a labor of love to see something that we made specifically for tournaments. Because we were like, man, we really want something that makes maneuver important, makes blocking line of sight important, that divides the table up so it's not just a shooting gallery. And that's what we made that terrain piece for, was specifically to make Tournament 40K more fun, and now to see so many other people enjoying it.
Yeah.
Also, if you're a TO and you want to get your hands on some affordable terrain that is designed specifically to work with what we just described in the tournament setting, email us, and if you buy it in bulk for your tournament, we'll hook you up with a bulk discount price.
Yep.
We've also got all kinds of other savings going on. We've got Warzone at 45% off retail currently. I mean, crazy deals. We've got 40K at 25% off, and we still have Betrayal at Cal 30K box sets. We've got the Formation bundle deals, which are already discounted, and then you get it at a further discount. So it ends up being like 30% or more off of MSRP if you bought the components individually. And we've got the new Archaon, which looks ridiculously cool.
That guy is sick.
That is sick.
That is an amazing model.
I mean, say what you will about Age of Sigmar, like there's good and bad things to be said about that game.
Yeah.
The miniatures are astounding.
Oh yeah, the miniatures are amazing.
They're so good.
Yeah.
So definitely check that out. We've also got the full line of Toughest Girls in the Galaxy in our web cart. You've been hearing us talk about this for a year.
Yeah.
And we finally just got it in the web cart. It's been one of those things where we're like, oh, we'll do it. And I'm like, let's do it. Let's just do it.
Let's get it done.
So we got it in there, and these miniatures are amazing. We'll be doing some reviews on them. They're high quality resin, 28mm science fiction female models. They work great as like Astra Militarum or Sisters of Battle stand-ins.
Yeah.
Like one of the lines could straight up be female Space Marines or Sisters of Battle. And they've got the Jailbirds, which I bought, which look like female Catachans. Mm-hmm. And then they've got another one that looks like female Acadians, I'm sure completely coincidentally. And then they've got one that almost looks like female, the Russian Valhallans.
Valhallans?
Well, I'm drawing a blank.
I don't know.
The like World War I or II style Russian troopers. Anyway, check them out. They look really, really cool, and they would add a lot of character to your army.
Yeah.
We've also got X-Wing and Drop Zone Commander at 20% off. So make sure to jump in there and check out everything we got, because today is the last day to get those savings.
Sweet.
Also, big news with Hawk Wargaming. Drop Zone Commander released 2 kits that they've been previewing. It's kind of gotten overshadowed in the huge success of their Drop Fleet Commander Kickstarter, which we'll talk about in a second. But Drop Zone Commander has released some new resistance kits, the Sappers and the Scouts, and they look super cool.
They look awesome. I really like the Sappers. They've got like TNT. They're ready to
run. Yeah, in military history, as anybody knows, Sappers take down buildings. That's what they do. They take down fortifications. And these guys look like they're ready to do it. And the Scouts have like little dune buggies and ATVs with satellite dishes and stuff all over them. So it's really cool. And I think that one of the benefits of the Scouts, particularly with the Resistance army, Resistance have tons of barrage weapons. Tons of barrage weapons. And Scouts allow you to increase the accuracy of barrage weapons and to forward observe for them so that you can shoot at anything they can see. And it's really cool, right? Like they forward observe, they radio back like, hey, shoot these guys. And they'll be extremely valuable in a unit, in an army like Resistance that has so many weapons that can take advantage of their special role.
Yeah, Scouts have definitely taken more of a role in the Drop Zone Commander game, and it's awesome to see that.
I agree 100%. I play an artillery UCM army. I take longbows, the Kodiak, which they made the Kodiak better, which is crazy to me. And I use a lot of scout units in my army, and then I hide a lot of my stuff and shoot you from out of line of sight. Yeah. And that's the way it's fun. I really enjoy playing the game that way, so I think Resistance will have similar tactics now. Also in Drop Fleet Commander news, Kickstarter continues to just rock it. They've got a couple days left. They're pushing 700,000 of their $61,000 goal.
Good God.
Not bad.
Yeah.
That's what you call success.
Congratulations, guys.
Yeah, they're great guys. And as you are seeing, if you're watching the show, they've released some images of new designs for every faction. They've got UCM, PHR, Shaltari, and Scourge. These are all big ships, and wow. The designs are just phenomenal. And we've also got painted pictures of the Shaltari and PHR ships, which we had not seen previously. And especially the PHR ship painted up looks spectacular.
Yeah, I think it looks amazing.
They really did a great job of matching the aesthetic of the ground armies.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
you look at them and you immediately know what faction they are.
Yeah, they look really similar to the vehicles that you'll see on the ground in Drop Zone Commander. So
Yeah, I really dig it. The Shaltari look fantastic. They look the most alien per usual.
yeah,
Really, really big fan of everything these guys are doing. And then, like we were talking about off air, I'm genuinely enthused to try the game out.
yeah, I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm interested in what other factions they're gonna throw into it, or if they even are planning on.
They had said that the Resistance will have a part to play, but
Okay.
from a fluff perspective, it doesn't make sense for the Resistance to have a space fleet because they're guerrilla fighters on the ground. So they said there is some like old ships that they have access to that survived,
Yeah.
like pre-invasion human ships that they will be able to bop around in.
Okay.
But if anything, it'll be like a mercenary. You can add them in to probably a UCM army.
Yeah.
And that's the only part they're going to play. But they are going to release more alien factions in the game. And I think they said they're going to cap the game at like six factions, if I remember correctly.
Interesting. Just probably for game balance and all that.
Yeah,
Makes
and
sense.
because I think their business model, they do the War Machine business model where every book releases new stuff for every faction, which I think we can all agree is superior.
Oh yeah.
The superior business model because no one gets left out in the cold.
Yep.
The downside is, though, with each book, you have a lot to do, right? You have to, there's a lot of rules writing, fluff writing, game balancing, and then probably more laboriously is making the models.
Yeah. And also with that kind of release schedule, well, I guess they release new units for everybody at the same time. So that makes
Yes.
sense,
Yep. And I think it's a superior business model, personally.
Yeah.
The Codex style with GW is fun, but then, especially in editions past, you'd have situations where a book could go a decade
Yeah.
without getting an update. Now, they've changed that. And their new business model is infinitely better. Where we're getting these weekly releases, I think it's so much better, more fun, more exciting.
Yeah.
So it's not as bad as it was, but you could still have a situation where you go years without getting anything new for your faction.
Like chaos.
In other news, Forge World shows off Garo. This is the latest in their character series of models, and he looks appropriately awesome. I would expect nothing less from the Forge World character series at this point in time. And Garo looks really, really cool. He was a Death Guard. He was a member of the Death Guard that refused to go traitor,
Yeah.
and went and he warned Terra about the rebellion, about the heresy.
Isn't he the one that starts up the Grey Knights?
He becomes, if I remember correctly, he becomes one of the first Grey Knights.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So really cool character, pivotal character in the fluff, and a brilliant model.
He chose poorly though. Should
You
have
think he
stuck with
should've
Death
gone
Guard. Yes.
I think everybody else is pretty happy.
I'm Death Guard for life.
Yeah, you are definitely. So you hate Goro. All right, and probably the news that everybody is most interested in, the ITC poll results are in for the mid-third quarter update. It's more like end of the third quarter, but whatever, who's counting? So we had some fairly contentious issues that we needed to address, which is why we had a vote, because normally we would not have one until after the Las Vegas Open. But it gave us the opportunity to address a couple things that needed to be addressed, right? We needed to make a call on some of these.
Yeah.
And then some of them, it gave us the opportunity to do things that we didn't need to do, but it was nice to be able to get them done. So we'll go through these one at a time, give our thoughts, and then in the chat, if you're watching us live on Twitch, we'll be happy to engage some of the questions. So first one, this one was very, very contentious. We worded these very specifically. How did you want to play Tank Shock in regards to applying the crunch part of the rule?
Yep.
So what does that mean? Because some people are still probably like, huh? So in the Tank Shock rule, it's worded very ambiguously. You could definitely read it as being a powerful offensive weapon or something that really just displaces other models. You can totally read it both ways.
Yeah.
And the crunch rule is basically what happens when you can't place a model on the table in unit coherency away from the tank moving the shortest distance. Now, where it gets contentious and where it gets confusing is the order of operations, right? Mm-hmm. Do you read the sentence as being an independent clause, meaning you move the model the shortest distance away from the tank? Next clause, if the model is not in unit coherency and on the table, it is destroyed. That's grammatically, I strongly believe that is what the sentence says. Now, what you think it means or the way you want to play it, that's different.
Yeah.
And a lot of people make a pretty strong grammatical argument the other way around. I read it as an independent clause and a noun clause. We don't need to get into the grammar of it really because
Doesn't matter.
It doesn't really matter, to be honest. And a lot of people read it as the other interpretation, the less powerful interpretation, that you move the shortest distance away from the tank shocking tank while also maintaining unit coherency and staying on the table. So in one instance of the rule, you can kill things very easily with it, especially single model units like monstrous creatures. It's extremely easy to just run them over. In the other reading of the rule, it's very difficult and it's impossible to do, almost impossible to do to a single model unit.
Yeah.
Like it'll very rarely ever happen. Now, pros and cons. Pro, most people play it the less powerful way. Most people play it as just displacing models. It's local in different areas. There might be some people who are like, no, we've always played it the more powerful way.
Yeah.
But in general terms, I've really rarely seen it played that way. But the vote came down, and it was. Oh, and I'm sorry. And then cons is that we've already released a video saying how we read the rule, and now we're gonna have to
take that
video down because the vote was extraordinarily close.
Yeah. 465
people wanted to play it the less powerful way. 460 wanted to play it the more powerful way. That's a less than 0.5%.
Wow. That's
difference.
Crazy.
Yeah. And then just to recap too, methodology this time around, we required people to verify their identity when they voted. So you couldn't vote multiple times. I'm sure, there may be a way for someone to figure out to vote multiple times, but we eliminated a lot of the shenanigans.
Yep.
So there you go. The less powerful interpretation of tank shock is what will be applied for the ITC. And again, as always, remember guys, in the ITC, if your local group really likes playing tank shock and you run people over, go ahead.
Yeah.
The first rule of the ITC is always that you can change any rule in the ITC as a starting point. But in our events and in official ITC events, this is the way it's going to be, and it's already in the FAQ.
Yeah.
For those of you who are curious about that.
Day 916 is asking if we will make a video or explanations on the rulings that were made.
Yes.
Yes.
We will. We have to take the other one down.
Yeah.
So the only downside to this is, I actually feel like this is probably the wiser way to play the rule.
It's easier.
I don't even know if it's easier, really. Actually, it causes more complications, in my opinion, in terms of how to place the models. But anyway, who cares? In the sense that it's going to cause less people to get this sucks feeling. Yeah. Right. Especially with the predominance of Battle Company, and they're the ones who would be able to benefit it from the most. So I feel like this is I'm actually pleased with this, even though I actually disagree. I think that this is a rule change, in my opinion. I know a lot of people don't agree. Yeah. But not that that's a bad thing. It's just I think that this is the better way to go about doing it because it's going to keep more people happier.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm totally happy with the way that this one went. Like you said, you're not just taking people's models off the table. I really hate that mechanic in the game. So I think that now they have an opportunity to survive and then kill a tank later. So.
Yeah, and it's still really good. Tank shock is still incredibly good for pushing people off of objectives, especially with Battle Company where you're OBSEC. Yep. It's still really, really good. It's just not. It's not a weapon. It's a tool, right? It went from being a warhammer to a drive a nail hammer. Yes. I guess that's the best analogy I could come up with. Next point, and this is probably the most contentious series of questions, and it's about the Tau coordinated firepower rule. And it's funny because when I first read this rule, to me it was clear as day, right? I read it in a more conservative way, and I know a lot of other people did. But then we've talked to other people who was clear as day, the other opposite, right? This one really was very contentious. Like the articles and everything that we put up online, there was really strong feelings on both sides. And one of the things I wanted to address is a lot of people have asked, why did you ask it? A lot of people are like, oh, this really just was the question of can they split fire or not? Or it was just this or that. It wasn't. No. There was a spectrum of responses that we got from the most conservative to the most powerful and everything in between. So we split the question up to give the possibility to get any result within that spectrum of answers. Yeah. Because some people were like, oh, it's really just, is it max power on one or max power at everything? Or can they split fire or can they not? And that's not the case. That doesn't represent everybody's reading of the rule. Nope. So we split it up into multiple questions to give a wider variety of potential responses of answers. So the first one is, and we worded this specifically, how do you want to play Tau coordinated firepower rule in regards to sharing special rules from the various units contributing? Yep. We didn't say, what do you think it says? We didn't say any of that. We said, how do you want to play it? Because it's too contentious. Yeah. Right? there's too many different ways to read it that are valid. And we're like, you know what, screw it. Let's call a spade and just say, how do you want to play it?
Yeah.
Because it's more important at the end of the day. And it was very close. 487 votes for, I think that it only gives you +1 ballistic skill and shared marker lights. 460 for all special rules of all contributing units pile up into one. So the more conservative reading of the rule won out narrowly.
Yeah.
It was very close. And what that means is when you form a coordinated firepower team in the ITC, you only share marker lights and +1 ballistic skill. And I actually thought this was going to go the other way on this specific question, based off of what I'd been reading and seeing.
Yeah.
But this is how I read it. Right off the right when I picked it up, I was like, "Oh, cool, man! That's super powerful. Everyone gets +1 BS and they get to share marker lights." But a lot of people were thinking like, "Oh, like if you have buff Mander, everyone gets tank hunter, ignores cover, twin linked, or if one guy's standing on a Skyfire Nexus, everyone gets Skyfire."
Yeah.
And I see how you could read it that way. I really do. I just that's very aggressive.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's the same way that I read it. Like we read it very similar when we opened up the book, and this is the exact same way that I had read it. But it's interesting to see how close the vote was.
Yeah.
For it, especially since I do agree with you. I saw it going the other direction to where all the buffs are going to be shared because just the vocal or the amount of people that were commenting were really pushing for the shared all special rules. So
yeah, and I see how you get to that point.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I totally do. Like at first I would like laugh. Like you guys can go back and watch the podcast where someone asked in the chat, and I was like, "Get out of here! Like who actually reads it that way?" Apparently a lot of people did.
Like,
you know,
wow.
like I was like, "Oh wow!" And it just goes to show that. Because people get very passionate and they're like, it says this. It absolutely, it's no question. There is. It is. It's the waters are muddied.
Yeah.
And actually, we had an interview with Mini Wargaming, and one of the gentlemen there actually read the rules the other way. And he's like, oh no, it clearly says this.
Which you guys will be able to listen to that interview at the end of this podcast.
Right. And then Ben Mully, Captain America, one of the best players of 40K that I know, he read the rule the same way we did. He's like, oh no, clearly it says this, and I was like, wow. And I asked all these different people who I would consider to be experts of the game. Every single person gave me a different answer. I was like, yeah, we got to vote. There's no other way to resolve this. And then the other part of this, which is the other part that was I would say even equally as contentious, is how do you interpret coordinated firepower working with rules that let you fire at multiple targets? Because really, like, you can almost accept the fact that, okay, I can share every special rule at one target. Because everybody knows Tau struggle with Death Stars. This gives you a perceived tool to deal with Death Stars, although now we already know that the real tool to deal with Death Stars is Storm Surge, not shooting them. Yeah. Because when something has a 97% durability, it doesn't matter if you do more wounds to it, right? You'd have to do like thousands of wounds to it to make a noticeable difference. But this was the part that everyone was scared of. Yeah. Right? Was, okay, my gosh, what if I can make all my units ignores cover, twin links, Skyfire, Monster Hunter, Tank Hunter, and then I could split fire and shoot at every other target on the table. This one wasn't even close. 225 people wanted to play it, the more powerful interpretation. 719 said, no, you can't split fire. You don't get any bonuses from coordinated firepower if you shoot at other targets.
And on this one, I actually disagree with the way that it went, because the way that I read it is that they do still get all the benefits when they split fire.
But you read it that they don't get...
They don't get the shared buffs. Right.
You read it that they should get +1 ballistic skill and marker lights. Yep. And that applies even when they fire at different targets.
Yeah, because like technically when they do split fire and fire at other targets, I think they still lose the marker lights because the marker lights are specific for that target. But the +1 ballistic skill, there's nothing in the rules, in my opinion, that justify that they would lose it.
But I could go show you 20 comments from people that are living.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Oh, it clearly doesn't work that way. I've been playing the game for 30 years, and there's no way. And I'm like, oh, there is a way, because GW writes these rules so poorly and doesn't give us any examples of anything.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And not to attack them, not to undermine, attack GW. Like, writing rules is very difficult.
Like, we put this on the poll because clearly people were reading it in so many different ways that we needed to put it to a vote. Yeah. And everybody was just in the examples and the reasoning and all that. Yeah. And that's why we put it on the poll. So. Yeah, and this one didn't surprise me. I was like almost certain that this one wouldn't go through. It's just, it's pretty gnarly, right? Mm-hmm. But we had the possibility for all the different, ways to read it to come into play.
And then the last question on this topic of the coordinated firepower rule was Dark Strider in relationship to how he interacts with coordinated firepower. Dark Strider has a special rule, structural analyzer, that gives any target, it gives him and his unit -1 toughness to the target they shoot at. So then it gets really, this one was really complex if you dig into it, because he's not in the hunter contingent. And their rule applies to units in their detachment.
Yeah.
But he's an independent character. He joins their unit. Now he becomes a part of that for all rules purposes. That rule doesn't make any sense because it sometimes works, sometimes doesn't work. And then it's like, does his unit count? If he shoots first, does everybody else get -1? Does he give -1 to everybody? It gets so convoluted. And so we were like, look, how do you interpret this working? And again, by a large margin, everyone voted. It's like just his unit gets the -1 toughness buff.
Yeah.
It wasn't even close. 597 to 345. So in sum total, coordinated firepower got the most conservative interpretation across the board.
Yep.
So I know a lot of Tau players are upset, understandably. I'm not going to tell you that you're unjustified in being upset. However, that is the way it went down. This is a community response. And the challenge is, at this point, is to accept the results with maturity, in the spirit of compromise, and to try to understand that the votes to nerf things almost never pass. It's really rare.
Yeah.
Like, the only other things that have gone that way have been invisibility, 2+ reroll save, etc. So it's usually things that are perceived by the majority of the community as just quite simply being unfun.
Mm-hmm. But also on that point is, I mean, this isn't necessarily a nerf. This is maybe the way that more people read it.
Well,
So-
it could be what GW intended. We don't know,
yeah,
right? Like,
so it's not like, because invisibility clearly stated what it
Yes.
was supposed to be.
It's a fair
2+
point.
reroll clearly stated what it was supposed to be, and then we nerfed it. This isn't necessarily a nerf. It just means that more people want to play it this way, and maybe more people read it this way. So
I think you make a really good point. It's an interpretation. You're right. I agree. You make a really good point.
Yeah,
From the perspective of people who saw it the other way, it's a perceived nerf.
totally fair
Yeah.
enough. But it's just I think it's important to realize that it's not necessarily a nerf, because it wasn't specifically set up to be like nerf bat. Bah, bah.
Yeah, it's not even necessarily a rule change. It's a rule interpretation.
Yeah.
But then there's some people that will vehemently disagree with that
Oh,
statement.
for sure. I mean, if you read it the other direction,
Yeah.
and then it gets changed, now it is a nerf in your eyes.
Right.
So, totally understandable.
Like, one person on our Facebook page had said like he was quite upset, and he was like, well, even GW, there's correspondence from GW that says that they do become one unit. And I was like, yeah, I know, I saw that, and I was the one that posted that on Bell of Lost Souls and Frontline Gaming, and we talked about it on the podcast. And so, I mean, my intent by bringing that up is we tried to make that information public. We didn't try to like obfuscate it or hide it.
No, and some of that information in that same email, the guy asked another question about the same rule, and the guy didn't know the
He had
answer.
no idea. He didn't even know what it
So-
meant.
So it's,
Yeah, I know. And the thing to remember with this is that we don't know if it's real.
yeah.
That person allegedly works for White Dwarf. They're not in the rules department.
Mm-hmm.
And just because they work for GW in some capacity doesn't mean that what they say is official. For example, if you went into a GW store and asked the manager of the store on the rules interpretation, that doesn't mean that that's GW's policy.
Yeah.
So just bear that in mind. And we're not trying to like completely undermine it and say like it has no value. It does, and that's why we presented it. That's why we put that information out there.
Yeah.
Because we're like, hey guys, this is something to consider when you're taking that into consideration. Also, another funny point about the poll. Somebody was like, I don't feel like you guys put this out there well enough. I didn't see it. I'm like, okay, we emailed it to like 10,000 people. It was on Bell of Lost Souls, Facebook, Twitter, our YouTube channel, our blog, Fayette 212. I was like, I don't know
We
what
boosted
more.
it on Facebook.
I
We
don't
did a
know
Google
what more
ad.
we could have possibly done to get the information out there. Like I'm sorry we didn't go to your forum and like.
Well, we should have done my idea of buying commercial space during the Turkey
Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Not the Super Bowl. It hasn't happened yet.
Super Bowl, yeah.
Right.
Ha
But yeah, and honestly, guys, if you want to be informed about these things, sign up for the newsletter.
Yes.
You'll never miss anything.
Yep.
Our newsletter contains pretty much
follow
everything.
our Facebook or our
Yeah.
Twitter or anything like that, which
Yeah.
we would like if you guys would follow us
Yeah,
on Facebook.
totally.
And Twitter.
But it's just funny. I was like, dude, I don't know what more I could have done. Like I was everywhere trying to get this information out there.
Yeah.
At any rate, next question. Or I guess final thoughts on the coordinated firepower rule for Tau. the rule is still extremely powerful.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
Frankie's been playing it the way that it is now, essentially, and he's been annihilating people. It's still really, really good. I know it's easier for me to say that than for someone to agree with me who's been playing it the other way. They feel like there's getting something taken away, and that's not
Yeah.
fun. It's still really powerful. And as a silver lining, the new Montcaw book, I think that the new Montcaw detachments are straight better.
Yeah, on
They're,
that.
they're better with any interpretation
Yeah,
of the rule.
and on that point, I think. I mean, I'm rewriting my list. I've been playing Tau for a while now. Or
Like a month,
not-
I guess.
Yeah, not that long, but for about a month, and I'm really enjoying it.
And you've been
And-
destroying people.
Yeah, I've been doing really well, and I figured out a new list that I think is even better, and I'm going to be writing an article today. So keep your eyes peeled for that. So I think this will be even better than using the coordinated firepower.
Yeah.
Even if it was super buffed.
Right.
So,
Because the Montcaw detachment has a rule that's kind of similar. It's like you pick a unit and you get to reroll wounds and armor pin for like everybody.
yeah.
And it's like really if the intended purpose of wanting coordinated firepower was to crack Death Stars, this is better because most Death Stars buff manners buffs don't work against.
Yeah.
Like Tank Hunter Monster Hunter doesn't work against like a Thunderstar. Who cares? Ignores cover doesn't work either. Who cares? They have a 2-up invul save most of the time. Right? It does work really well against the Raven Guard though, but
Yeah.
but with Marker Lights, who cares? You know, the reroll G save is meaningless.
Yep.
So take a look at that, and then some of the stuff in there is wow powerful.
Yeah.
Wow, and then the way that a lot of their rules are worded, there are some things that need to be addressed, but
Of course.
some of the things in there are very clear,
Yeah.
right? So if you're a Tau player, definitely take a look at the Montcaw book.
Which we will be giving away a Montcaw book tomorrow on the stream. If you guys are tuning in.
Yeah, and then since we're talking about it, it will be me versus Mike Snyder. He is the number 2 ranked Necron player in the ITC. We're playing our Masters League game. It should be really fun. Last time Mike and I played, he beat me in a close one. He beat my orcs. That Wraith just didn't die fast enough. So I'm out for revenge. It should be a really good game.
Yep.
Anyway, on to the ITC poll for the next question. This one was really interesting at the amount of people that wanted this to be on the poll. I think the orc players like
They
banded
must have done, like,
together.
a petition. or
Yeah,
something.
like they banded together. And because it's really specific and kind of narrow, but it was like one of the most prevalent things that came up. And it was, currently there's a character for orcs called Boss Mech Buzzgob. He is a Forge World orc character. He is in the Dread Mob army list, but you can also take him as an HQ in an orc army. And he is a character big mech, really not that much special about him. His Warlord trait is completely useless because it was written in 6th edition.
Yep.
But what he does is he can upgrade to a Big Mech Stompa for 300 points, when a Big Mech Stompa usually costs 880 or something, or 850. I can't
So
remember
you
off the
get
top of my
like
head.
50% off.
No, it's usually like 900 or something points. So you get like 530, if I remember correctly, like 530, 580 points. No, it's like 530.
Yeah.
It's 530 point discounted Big Mech Stompa, and then it becomes a Lord of War. And it's very powerful. Anybody who's played against Big Mech Stompa, Frankie, you have, I have, they're really powerful.
They are stupid hard to kill.
They are extremely hard to kill. They have 12 hull points, armor 13, and they have D6 power fields.
Yeah.
And so at the beginning of the game, you roll, oh look, I have essentially 18 hull points.
Yeah, you're like, cool.
What? Yeah, the power fields though are armor 12, and they can't come back.
Yeah.
Once they're gone, they're gone. So the community voted to give a helping hand to their fellow orc player. By a lot. It was 577 to 367. Yes to no.
Yeah.
So it's funny because I've been keeping my eye on the internet. Orc players are like, ah! Or I guess more appropriately, wah! They're going crazy. Everyone's super excited because this is going to be really, really helpful for orc players who struggle in the current meta. It's really hard to play orcs. And like we said, the thing you want to keep in mind is they're pretty much every turn in Orc Army where the player can get access to a Stompa is going to take one. It's going to be the Wraith Knight of Orcs.
Yeah, I mean, you might as well. It's not very many points, but it does take up an HQ slot, right?
No, he becomes a Lord of War.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So but the thing is, you could take Zardsnark as your Warlord, and then you have a Big Mech Stompa. So you could have I could take my army, cut out a couple units, and have a Stompa in it, and all of a sudden you're like, whoa, that's really good. And a lot of people I've seen online, like very good orc players who play Green Tide, are like, oh, I'm putting a Stompa in there too.
Heck yeah, it makes the Green Tide fearless. That's great.
Yeah, it makes all orcs within, I think, 12 inches fearless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's great, and I'm excited to see some Stompas on the table because
Yeah.
we rarely ever saw them. So.
And you played against John McCool, who's one of the top-ranked orc players with the Big Mech Stompa at the Feast of Blaze.
I played him twice at the same tournament. Yeah, the first time I played smart, ran away from the Stompa, ignored it, and won pretty handily. The next game, I was like, I'm going Operation Kill a Stompa. Didn't happen. I didn't kill a Stompa. Stompa destroyed me.
No, the Big Mech Stompa is extremely good.
Yeah.
Well, what I think is good, first of all, like all the commentary I've seen is everyone's like, hey, awesome, we'll see more orcs. And then the people who are against it are like, you're out of your effing mind. They're 530 points. That's crazy. And I'm like, well, it's actually what the rule specifically says. Like, we actually changed the rule to not let them do it. And then actually, that is like point blank what it was meant to do. All we were doing was we were unchanging the rule change, so to speak. So it's like, that's what the game intended. Not that that really is super relevant all the time. No. But I think what happened is that in the modern day, where a lot of armies get a lot of free points, like demons can summon stuff in left and right, Space Marines get battle company and they can summon stuff, war convocation. I think what the perception is that people are like, this just gives orcs kind of like an even footing. Yeah,
and I think it's important to touch on the next point of the poll, just while we're talking about it at the same time.
Sure, and then the next question was, because we were thinking about it, and we were like, how could this blow up in our face if we did this? And I was like, wait, someone could take like 2 units of Gretchen in this, in like a cheapo HQ, and put it into another army that's already very powerful, like Necrons or demons.
Yep.
So we were like, okay, guys, if this does pass, should we make it available only to orcs, or should anybody get it? And then the intent of that question was, let's see if people feel that this is something that's going to be only to help orcs, or if people just say like, hey, no, that's what the rule says, let's just play it.
Yeah.
Let anybody take it. And by a landslide, it was like, no, only orcs can get this.
Yep.
So the only way you can take Big Mech Boss Mech Buzzgob, try to say that 3 times fast, is if your army has only orc faction models in it. That means you cannot take any allies that are not orcs.
Yep.
And then one of the other cool things, as a closing point on that I'd like to make, is the armies that orcs absolutely struggle with, that absolutely kick their ass, this gives them a tool to fight. And specifically, I mean like Death Stars. And surprisingly, actually, I think it'll help against Tau, although, I don't know, like Tau can shoot that thing to pieces pretty fast.
Especially if they have some storm surges.
If orcs go first and they have like a bike star and they bum rush you, you're only going to be able to get one of them.
Possibly. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a good combo.
I think that would be your only hope.
Chance.
Yeah. Obi-Wan, you're my only hope. So at any rate, if you're an orc player, get excited. It's neat to see the community saying, yes, let's help out someone who's struggling.
Yeah.
And then Tau players like, you.
You dicks.
Yeah. So, but you know what? On one last final point on that, I don't want to harp on it too much because we got other news to talk about. It was really interesting this time with ITC because we required people to verify their identity. So I went in and I checked Tau players that I know that are very good. And I went in and I checked to see how they voted because I was really curious as to what their take was, because you could infer from the way they vote how they feel about it.
Yeah.
And we'll never reveal how people voted. That's not our place. It's private information. But some very notable, very good Tau players voted for the more conservative interpretation of coordinated firepower. A couple of them didn't. A couple went max strength. But it was interesting because a couple of the guys who went max strength coordinated firepower went max strength on everything. They're like,
ready to go.
Most powerful tank shot, most powerful coordinated firepower. Yes, Big Mech Buzzgob. Let anybody take them. And I'm like, oh, that's your philosophy.
There it is.
Your philosophy is take the gloves off. I get it. But a lot of really, really good Tau players voted for either the most conservative or a toned down version of coordinated firepower. I thought that was very interesting.
That is really interesting.
Yep. Enough of that. Anyway, we'll answer more questions in the chat once we come back around to that. Upcoming ITC events. These are all occurring this coming weekend, December 4th through the 6th. We have the Renegade Open GT in Roseville, Minnesota. This is a big one. These guys have been doing great work. Really excited to see the results of that. Yep. Power Hugs at Mugu Games in Everett, Washington. Annihilation 3 at Guardian Games in Portland, Oregon. The Pacific Northwest is getting it done. Yeah. And Throne of War in Honolulu, Hawaii. Yeah,
get it.
Man, we should go to that one.
We should.
So go ahead and check the ITC standings to see where you rank. Oh, also all the events that were sent in this past week, we had to put it on hold while we got the poll done. I'll get all those uploaded today.
Sweet.
Rumors. The rumors section is gathered from the web and is not in any way information we receive from any manufacturer, nor is it necessarily accurate. This section of the podcast is intended for entertainment purposes only. Thousand Suns upgrade kit spotted.
You nailed it. You sold that one.
Thanks.
Freaking.
I've been practicing.
It looks, I don't know. I actually don't like it.
It's pre-Heresy Thousand Suns.
Yeah.
And when they're painted red, I think they're going to look pretty cool.
Yeah. They're red and white, right?
They're red, white, and I think blue is the other color.
Really?
But they look. I think it looks really cool. And these are obviously, in the image, they're with the 30K Horus Heresy Betrayal at Calth miniatures. I think it's cool. I mean, you could make a Forge World 30K army at a fraction of what it used to cost by using those 30K kits.
So now, do you think with GW releasing the plastic box set of Betrayal at Calth, do you think Forge World is still going to release like the whole Marines, or do you think they're just going to do upgrades for that box set?
They'll probably discontinue the Mark IV armor, which is what you get in the Betrayal at Calth box.
Gotcha.
Because why are they going to compete with a plastic? But they will continue to do all their other Mark like 2, 3, 5, 6 armors.
Yeah.
Because there's no competing product. Right. And I'm sure GW will get around to it eventually.
Yeah.
You know, making anything Space Marine is like printing money. There's also some images floating around of the new Chaos Knights for Age of Sigmar, and they look so ridiculously awesome.
They look ridiculous.
My only critique...
We should play again.
Yeah, I'd be down to play again. Age of Sigmar is... it's not my favorite, but...
No.
It's not bad. It's just not...
No, it's just not the kind of game that we like to play.
Yeah, with modifications. There's some third-party rule sets out there that you put on top of it. I think they make it quite fun. But they look incredible. My only critique is that the horses look a little funny. They're like demon mouth on them. I'm like, I almost think they'd be cool if they were just like a normal horse.
I think they look pretty sick.
I'm not like... my overall impression is like 10 out of 10. Or I'll say 9.5 out of 10. My only critique, I just didn't like that. And it's relatively minor because they look spectacular. And they're huge.
Yeah.
They're beefy models, man. Yeah. One of the other rumors for Age of Sigmar is that Dwarden, which is what they're calling dwarves, is going to be out later this year. And they're going to be called these, I think, Steamhead Dwarden or something like that.
Now, can we touch on that name?
I actually like the name.
Do you really?
I swear to God, I like the name. Because, okay, if you have to change the name of dwarves, as the names for dwarves go, I think Dwarden sounds pretty cool.
I would call it like half people, person.
That would definitely not be better than Dwarden. I'll just tell you that right now.
Or what are the elves? What are they going to be calling the elves?
Elves.
Elves.
Yeah.
Elves. I don't know. I like dwarves and elves.
They could have been Dwarves.
Dwarves. Just say it backwards.
Frankie would just call them short, fat people.
With beards.
I'm sure that would go over really well.
They're short and fat. Yeah,
Leave the marketing to another department.
Yeah.
All right. And then we're also hearing continued rumors that we will be getting Death Watch versus Tyranids in a box set like the Assassination, Execution Force, and Betrayal at Calth.
Sick.
And then it's going to be, again, Death Watch versus Tyranids. Some of the rumors are that there will be a special character, Lictor, available only in that box. Pretty neat. And then, of course, we'll be getting Death Watch Marines, which would be pretty cool. I'm sure a lot of people will be excited about that. It'd be a game, and then some of the rumors are that you could like add in other aliens into the game, like orcs and stuff.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it'd be fun. It sounds cool. I mean, it's more miniatures, right? And then a cool board game that's basically free when you buy the set. So
yeah, I heard the Assassin game's actually pretty fun.
I've heard all of them are really fun.
Yeah,
I haven't played any of them.
Nope.
Just haven't had time. And lastly, this is kind of a weird one, but there's rumors that Space Wolves are coming in February, and that we're not getting a reboot of some of the other stuff we've been hearing about.
No, don't you do it, Space Wolves.
Yeah.
Stay away from chaos.
Well, you know what? Space Wolves, like, they don't need to change really that much. It'd just be cool for them to get their Decurion and all their formations. Well, I would be, it's like, what, a year? I mean, that's kind of crazy, but...
It would make sense, though, if that is the rumor that's floating around for Space Wolves and Thousand Suns to come out at the same time, because they've always hated each other in the fluff. So I think that would be a good combo, and maybe like a Mon Call book of a Warzone, you know.
If we got like Tzeentch Demonkin,
yeah,
that would be really cool.
Tzeentch Demonkin along with the Space Wolf, like Decurions and stuff like that.
Because a lot of people are just like enraged online. I think that's the way that most people. I feel like that irate anger is like a normal state of emotional state online.
Yeah.
At least that's the way it appears half the time. But there's a lot of people like, why not Chaos? And I was like, yeah, I agree, but you make a good case. Like maybe they're going to pair it with Tzeentch Demonkin because that would be a classic, battle. It'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pure speculation. We have no idea if that's going to occur. But I could see that happening, and it would make sense. So
Yeah, and I'm excited for another Warzone book. So
I've been super pleased with all of them. The Shield of Balls, the Stormclaw, like they're all really fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the only thing that with the Montclaw, with the Astra Militarum one that we were all super excited about, because everyone was like, oh, you don't have to take any core formations. That's awesome because they're too expensive. And then you're like, wait a second. If you want to take any auxiliary formations, yes, you do. Like, oh man. So,
but on that,
if you want to just take 2 command units, you could, I guess. But
that would be terrible.
Dude, the infantry one again, I could be reading it wrong, but it's like a minimum of like 170 models. Like, what? Who is gonna do that?
But on that, it plays like the fluff, just like every other like Decurion that's been coming out.
Yeah,
it plays
but
exactly
dude,
like the fluff, which I'm loving. This is
give
great.
Give me a break. I mean, no, like I love Lehman Russes, thankfully, and I have 9. So for me, I would instantaneously be like, well, I'm going with the Lehman Russes.
Yeah.
And I actually think it's really powerful. I think it's quite good. It's just really expensive. It doesn't leave a lot of room.
Super expensive.
It doesn't leave a lot of room for any of the other stuff.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about off air, you could take the veteran formation, you get a little bit of OBSEC, and then they've got preferred enemy if you're standing on a objective, which is pretty good, especially with like plasma vets.
Yeah.
That's not bad. But then you don't get it for their dedicated transports, is the way I read it. So it's like, yeah. I just don't see a ton of benefit over taking a CAD.
Yeah.
You know?
That's true.
If I ever decided to be a complete masochist and paint like 100 more IG, maybe.
It's good. They can move and shoot their heavy weapons.
Well, I'm not saying it's not a good formation. I really think it is a good formation.
It's just a lot.
It's just too many models. I don't want to move that many models on the table either.
Yeah.
Anyway, list for review, Francis.
All right. So we've got a Khorne Demonkin list. We've got the Blood Host detachment. So he's got a Chaos Lord, Power Armor, Aura of Dark Glory, Juggernaut of Khorne, and then a Korlath the Axe.
Of Ruin. It's the one that if you die, you turn into Bloodthirster.
Yeah. Chaos Cultist times 8. We got a champion with close combat weapon and pistol, like a badass. I'm sure they all have the close combat weapons. Possessed Marines times 5. 2 units of 8 Bloodletters. Auxiliary detachment. He's got the Gore Pack. So he's got Chaos Space Marine Bikers times 3 with Melt-A-Gun and a champion with a Melt-A-Bomb. And then another unit armed exactly the same. 2 units of 5 Fleshhounds. And then auxiliary unit 2 through 8, he's got 5 Mauler Fiends. That's crazy. And a Soul Grinder.
2 Soul Grinders.
2 Soul Grinders, one with a Warp Sword. Yeah.
So this army, we've actually seen people do really well in tournaments with almost this exact army.
Yeah.
One of the Rage Quit Table Flip guys, his name is escaping me right now, I apologize, at the BAO was like kicking ass. Mm-hmm. But there's one huge gaping problem with an army that has 7 melee walkers, and that's called Grav.
And unfortunately, there's a lot of it.
Yeah. So you play one Grav spam army, and you are
toast.
FUCK'd because your expensive melee walkers are not going to be moving.
Oh.
And then you're playing the game with 2 units of bikes, 2 units of dogs, some cultists, and
especially with no Helldrakes.
I know. So like the KDK Decurion detachment, in my opinion, is not worth it.
No. Too many tags.
Too many. It's not even like, honestly, I could live with the stupid possessed. I could live with it if you could take, like, for example, if you could take the Helldrakes like the way you take Mauler Fiends.
Yeah.
Like if you could, because you don't get access to the best units without taking dumb, ridiculous tax. Like the Gore Pack, the Bikers are not that good. Actually, the Bikers are good. They're just way overpriced. The Fleshhounds are like probably the best unit in there.
The Fleshhounds are amazing.
They're so good.
They're super good.
They're so good. And then the Helldrake is obviously one of the best things you got.
Yeah.
So with KDK, I honestly feel like you're better off taking a CAD.
Yeah, or I mean, if you are dead set on doing that, maybe ally in Chaos Space Marines, or take a CAD and take some, or take a Khorne Demon King CAD and take like 3 Helldrakes. Now you're gonna get a lot of Blood Tide, and the Helldrakes do work.
Yeah, it's like that's the cold hard truth, right? Like, is the way that they're forming, they have crappy formations. Straight up, like Khorne Demon can have shitty formations. That it sucks.
Yeah.
If they had a formation that was like 2 Helldrakes, and then they can, or take 3 Helldrakes and they combine together to make a Hellstrom template,
That'd be sick.
like what you would see in everybody else's book. It'd be amazing. Or like take 3 Mauler Fiends and then they can't be immobilized.
Yeah, that would be really
Now it's like, oh my gosh, now it's a completely different ball game. But instead it's like, to take a Helldrake, you have to take 2 units of Warp Claws or some crap, you know,
like,
it's just terrible.
There is a good detachment though. If you really do want to run a lot of walkers, you take the Brass Scorpion, and then it's like 8 Mauler Fiends or something like that.
Yeah,
and it's like
that army
can do.
Again, Grav annihilates it. We've seen it
Grav
multiple
will work,
times.
But the Brass Scorpion luckily can't be immobilized, so you'll just be.
But then it's
messing
like,
things up.
can your Brass Scorpion fight an entire battle coming?
Yes, he can.
Because we've seen that army in action. I can't remember what it's called, and it's actually like if you can play in a team tournament format, like the ATC or the ITC team tournament or ETC, it's a great army. Because then you're like, oh, we pair that against something it's good against, and it's like you could steamroll people. But it's just such a big win, big loss list.
Anyways, guys, that's all we got for the main part of the podcast. At the end of this, you guys will have a interview with Mini Wargaming. And
actually, let's cover that for the people who are live.
Okay.
So the guys at Mini Wargaming they're friends of ours, great guys, and they are going to be using the ITC format in all their video battle reports.
Yeah, they're going to be using the like our rules, like basically the skeleton of the rules.
Right.
They're not going to necessarily be using the missions, and some of the rules they'll change for themselves. But
right.
they're going to be using the skeleton like most tournaments do, and I think that's great. Their main reason for using it is to point a finger when somebody doesn't like the rules change.
Yeah, which funny enough, like a lot of TOs tell us that, like, hey man, like a lot of TOs are like, I just want to run a tournament and have fun.
Yeah.
And I've got people screaming at me about all these rules, and like I have a job, I have a family, I don't have time to go through and answer every rules question. Like we can just take this, and if someone gets mad at me, I go, oh, yell at them.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm like,
I think that's why our format's why so many people are using it, because they don't want to get yelled at.
Yeah.
I just want to play a game. I just want to run a game, you know?
Yeah.
It's like,
a lot of people like that want to go out and run a tournament. They don't want to have to deal with all the strong emotions and stuff.
Yeah.
And luckily, we've been doing this for so long that people can like literally say the meanest things you can imagine. And I'm like, cool, next. And what do we got? What's next on my agenda for today? I don't care at all anymore. Yeah. Anyway, questions. Bulwardian, are formation-based bonus victory points counted towards the secondary mission? Yes, they're counted towards Maelstrom. They're a Maelstrom point.
Yep.
Anytime you get one of those, right? If you kill a character in a challenge, if you like assassins, if you kill the warlord, corpse thief claw,
yep.
Everything they kill in combat, my God, it's like, oh, I'm gonna win the Maelstrom every single time. Day 1 916 scapegoats, yes, that is part of what appeals to people, which is funny.
That is very true.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Kalsmars.
ITC poll regarding tank shock rule got a pretty close vote. How do you guys deal with those close calls when the votes are that close?
It's pure majority.
It's democratic.
Yep.
So
that's why that's why it's a binary question.
Could win by one vote and it still wins.
If it was one vote, it would still become law.
Zenith's Law with Montcalm book. There is, from what I can think, an error in the wording of the rule signature system. It says only battlesuits can take them. However, when you get the Earthcast pilot array, mentions Nova reactors, a chain supplement. How will we deal with that?
We'll address that in.
We'll have to take a look at the book.
Yeah.
Once we get it.
Arab Viking. If I put a Vindicare assassin in a plasma obliterator, yeah, unfortunately. Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. And
yes,
if you put what's his name? One of my Morgan Raw, he gets to shoot it twice if I remember correctly.
He used to.
No, he still does have. He still has the rule that lets him shoot twice. Because anybody manning a gun, the gun gets all their special rules. It's pretty crazy. All right, 1+ armor. Any comments? Oops. What the hell happened?
It's fine. I just need a power cord.
Any comments or concerns about implied bias in the wording of the poll questions? I get that every single time, and the answer is no. And it's impossible to write these questions without somebody seeing something in it. So no, there's no bias. We always try to be very clear about our position on anything in advance, like so that like you can't accuse us of bias, because it's like here it is. Like, I'm not a robot. I'm a human being. I have opinions on these things. I play the game too. So does Frankie.
Yep.
So we just try to be very clear about it, and then we tell people look at all the data and make your own mind up. I don't like that happens every time. People, there's this sour grapes. You know?
I mean, if the vote doesn't go your way, you're gonna look for every excuse you can. So it's like,
or not even intentionally. You'll see it. You'll see it as someone's attacking you, and you'll be like, "Oh, there's not. You asked a question in a way that there was the only answer." It's like, no, we didn't.
yeah,
No, we didn't. And if a mistake was made, we're human, right? Like,
yep.
I challenge anybody to go in and write the questions better. It's extremely difficult. You'd be surprised how hard it is.
Good God. Apparently, Twitch changed the way their chat works.
Okay, Touch of Oblivion.
Not sure if this is the proper place, but he heard that we were doing an Age of Sigmar blowout sale.
We are. Email
And-
orders at frontlinegaming.org.
What was just the black? Good God. This is
Yeah.
going.
Sorry, guys. It's difficult to read the chat 'cause it's
Price
going so
sort of
fast.
things. Yeah, well, they changed the way it works, and now it forces you to go down.
All right. Anyway, next
Yeah,
question. OnePlus Armor, keep up the awesome work. Thank you, man. Yeah, and sorry, I didn't mean to sound salty when I answered that question. It's just every single poll, someone throws that accusation at me. I'm the one who writes the poll questions, but I get feedback from lots of different people. And I ask people, I'm like, tell me what you think this says. And then they give me their response. And if they go like, hey, maybe you should make it a little bit more, remove any non-essential language out of it.
Yep.
And like, okay.
Bulwardian, is the change to Invis a set modifier per the priority in the BRB, or is it able to be modified as snapshots with marker lights and all that stuff?
I think we need a little bit more data. Are you talking about in regards to Tau?
I think he's asking, like, is invisibility can use marker lights and other things to boost up your ballistic skill when shooting at it?
Yes, because marker lights specifically boost snapfire.
Yep.
OnePlus Armor. Any thoughts on links? Yeah, like a lot of people are really reacting very strongly to the links, but the thing is, I think people aren't really taking into consideration the fact that it's no longer a super heavy vehicle. You can kill it in a single shot, and it's really expensive.
Yeah.
And I don't think it has the holo field anymore. Because if I remember, we don't have the book yet, but if I remember correctly, it's got a single strength 5 D shot. It can't shoot it when it flies, and it's no longer a super heavy vehicle, so you can stun it, you can shake it. And it's very expensive. I don't think it's going to be that good. I don't think you would take it over like a Wraith Knight, which it's similarly priced.
Yeah.
And yeah, also we don't allow the Hellstrom. Any Hellstrom weapon that has Torrent, we don't allow it.
Yep.
Wow, the questions are coming in. I can't even read them.
Yeah. Well, apparently Twitch.
The charger for this laptop isn't working.
OnePlus Armor, that is, he was asking in regards to the rulebook, not the ITC, I think.
Is the connection where the cord?
CW Dub, wasn't there an issue at LVO with the? Yep, it was. That was the macro cannon, not the plasma obliterator. It was a strength D weapon.
Yeah.
Mikhail Linen, does the Dawn Blade detachment death blow affect models outside the Dawn Blade? We can't answer that yet. That Moncall book is like brand new. Give us some time to absorb the information.
Cal's Mars, can we look forward to a mini wargaming versus Frontline Gaming bat rep in the future? Yes, we are going to be planning on heading up to Kansas